Annoying. All right. Looks like we are here. Let's see if we can't get the pop out. Hey, Nancy R. So JD, I'm watching the Roughnecks. Tell us how retirement is going, my friend. Let us know what's going on the big retirement. All right, we gotta go here. Oops. All right, looks like we are. Hold on a second. There we go. Cool. All right. So Nancy R, not from Jake O'Leary. Okay, so Nancy R, not familiar with you. So looks like, where are you coming from? Kevin K Paso, Roughnecks. Here we're just watching that. Watch the Wildcats lose to the Renegades too. Jeff, what's up? Daniel K Paso, you gotta let us know when you're ready to promote your spreadsheets, Daniel. I'm telling you. Daniel's the guy, the spreadsheet master. He's helped me immensely with creating. Yeah, I didn't do it, but he creates spreadsheets where I can now actually get in the knee deep and dirty. Make sure I don't have stuff on my. I just got done eating some steaks. Actually, these weren't my best, but anyway, Daniel's showed me some spreadsheet formulas where I can actually use the data from finance.yahoo.com and just go crazy, which is awesome. Rob K Paso, Bruce, hey Bruce, normally you can't be on this, Bruce, so good to see you. Don, right up. Jake O'Leary, not familiar with Jake, so it looks like if this is your first time here, welcome aboard, my friend. Nancy's from Gulfport, Mississippi. Dana, what's going on in Maine? Tom and Maryland, right on. The Terps, man. After last week, I don't want to say anything about the Maryland Terrapins. I thought they were still in the ACC. It turns out I was dead wrong. Absolutely. Alabama, Paul K. Paso, retired for 6 weeks now. Let's raise a glass, shall we? It's all good, Daniel. I'm moving slowly too. I finally finalized that cover for the book that many of y'all contributed to tell me what you thought, and it's done now. Now I just gotta get to doing it. I thought it'd be done by this month. I'm like, no, but it'll be coming out shortly. Kim Park, okay, right on. I haven't heard from you, Kim. Doesn't look familiar to me, at least here. So now I get Alcan, right on. Hello. So we'll raise a glass of, and Theo, I see Theo on board. My man Moon is on board. CJ, right on. Spectator. All right. Marietta, Georgia, right on. Ready for fire away, Dennis. Let's first raise a glass of peppermint tea. Yeah, fire away, man. I tell you, I'll yap all day long, but fire away, Dennis. You got a question you want to fire away first and foremost, I'll be happy to engage that for sure. Seemed like I had something else I want to say before we get started. What was it? Colombian coffee. Man, I love the XFL. I'm stoked, man. I like the Seattle, the St. Louis uniforms. I wish the Houston team would gone the powder blue like the Oilers. I wish the Roughnecks would have gone powder blue. But I love I just like football. No other way around. I like it. I enjoyed it immensely. It's interesting to see the DC Defenders and the New York Guardians get into a little scrum yesterday. So it's just fun to have football around. No other way around. As much as the NFL ticked me off during that whole silliness with what's that guy's name? I just, I missed it, and it's good to see the XFL back. I went to go see the AAF, the Atlanta Legends. I was just talking to Liam about that, and he said, "Why don't you get us any Atlanta Legends shirts?" I said, "Because I didn't think they'd be out of business so quickly." Alaska, hey, right on, man. Drank some dandelion, hibiscus, and cinnamon tea tonight. Ooh. What do you think, Rob? What's your thought about XFL, man? All right. Oh, you haven't seen a game yet. All right, man. It's fun, man. And no, the Seattle had, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but man, they were loud that yesterday. I mean, it was loud. I was surprised how loud that stadium is. I know they faked it with the Seahawks where they pumping the Mary Beth, what's up? I know they faked it with the Seahawks pumping some fake noise in there, but that was loud last night. All right, so I think I got a question. My man Daniel says, I'm hoping to retire next year. I have a pension, but keep taking more of it. And we get less. So hopefully retire. All right. I'm 54, hoping to retire next year. I have a pension, but keep taking more of it, and we get less. So hopefully retire, but get another job for about 5 years. Also have a annuity. Okay. Okay. I guess. Okay. It's like, Roger. Okay. Dennis says, yeah, everyone's talking about the Renegades logo, man. It doesn't do much for me, Matthew. Everyone, I mean, I was listening to Bill Burr. He's like, the Renegades logo is the best. I was like, no. I don't get the Los Angeles Wildcats. What the hell is that? I mean, why are they in black, first of all, in Los Angeles? Is Wildcats in Los Angeles? It was the weirdest of all the, that was just a weird, why be the Wildcats? I don't know. They should bust out the old LA Express. Remember Steve Young and the LA Express or the USFL? Man, I used to have a freaking, I had a magazine from the USFL. I wish I would have kept that sucker. That would have been worth a lot of money. There's an old running back for Penn State, Dozier. I'm drawing a blank what his name was. I used to keep all the magazines. Dozier, DJ Dozier. And he was on the cover of College Football in 1985, 84, maybe 83 or something like that. Was it Dozier? And anyway, and I got this huge stuff of programs and magazines. I just keep just piling. It's kind of fun to go back. I got Dana. I got the old Maine Mariners score things from. We used to go to the old Civic Center, the Maine Mariners, and see the old. So the program of the Maine Mariners would be the score. That was like the program to get. So I got some old Maine Mariners scorecards. And Marty Brodeur used to be the goalie for the Utica Devils, and I got a Utica Devils score program when I took some chick to go see the Utica Devils when I was in the Army. We went to go see the Utica Devils and almost got killed on the way back because we got hit in a snowstorm. It was bad in whiteout. All right, so Dennis says, I'm retiring. Do I have to do anything to my Roth to have my spouse continue to fund it? I'm retired. Do I have to do anything to my Roth? But you just have to have earned income. I'm not, you don't have to do anything, but if you don't have any earned income, you can't fund it. So I hope that makes sense. Hey, Thomas Hall, que paso? Nancy says, my work just started a Roth 401k. I've used a traditional 401k before this for years. Would it benefit me to use the Roth 401k okay, that's a great question. So she just started 401k, a Roth 401k. She's been using a traditional IRA for years. Would it benefit her to use the Roth 401k for when she plans to retire in 2 years? I literally just had this conversation with some folks today. All right, so when you're self-employed, you work all the time. All right, I work all the time. Just FYI, it's one of the benefits of being self-employed and one of the negatives. But if you like what you do, you work because it's fun. So here's the premise for these guys. She asked almost identical what you're asking me, Nancy. She said, should I even not do my traditional 401k? They don't have a Roth 401k at her small company. And she just start building up a cash bucket, essentially, of money. Typically, I said the answer to that is yes, except she's making bank this year. Her husband's going to retire in a couple months. But anyway, they're going to make, they make good money, and they're probably in the 22, maybe even 24% tax bracket, but they're only going to work part-time for, half the year. So they're probably in the 22% tax bracket. And after that, they're going to be in the lowest tax bracket ever they'll ever be in. So I said, I think you should still do your traditional 401k to have the tax deduction. It's not really tax deduction, but it's pre-tax. And then we fast forward for them in 2021, we can start doing conversions to the Roth. And I would presume, Nancy, that might be the same case for you. You said you've been putting the money in your traditional for years, and that tells me you've been in the same company for years. You're probably making pretty good money, which means you might be in a higher tax bracket now than you will be in 2 years when you retire, if that makes sense. Always remember the benefit of the Roth is, the benefit of tax, just basic tax planning. You look at your tax bracket today and you look at it and you presume what your tax bracket will be in the future. If your tax bracket today is higher than it will be in the future, do the traditional, without question, the pre-tax. If your tax bracket today is lower than what it'll be in the future, you do the Roth 100%. And going back to my book, I don't have a copy here. It's back there. Don't, right there. Tax bomb in your retirement accounts. The whole point why I started this whole channel and everything was the widow's tax trap. A lot of people are married filing jointly, and they think their tax bracket is going to be lower in the future, and unequivocally it won't be, because when husband kicks the bucket, the wife is left with literally a widow's tax trap. And so anyway, so Nancy, I would probably tell you to keep doing the traditional. I don't know what your tax bracket is. I don't know anything about you, but I would do the traditional unless I thought I would be in a lower tax bracket, a higher tax bracket in the future. Yeah. If I thought it was gonna be a higher tax bracket in the future, I'd do the Roth for sure. Hope that makes sense. Mary Beth, Kate Paso. Oh yeah, so don't forget, guys. The bigs. I interviewed. Hey, Tom. Tom likes the XFL too. Sweet, right on, Tom. I knew there's something about you I liked. I interviewed Andrew Biggs from the American Enterprise Institute. I got a little bit of a canker sore, so it's anyway. It hurts. It's almost like I bit my tongue, but it's a canker sore because I ate too many. My wife brought these kind of Valentine's Day cinnamon kind of candies, and I knew I shouldn't have eaten them, and I could not stop. A freaking big old pig. Oh, wow, man, it tasted so good. And anytime I eat too much candy, I get canker sores. Anyway, so if you see me kind of wince or something like that, or if I'm lisping a little bit, it's because I got a canker sore right back there. What was I saying? Okay, so I interviewed Andrew Biggs, who used to be the #2, I think he said, in Social Security. And if I put words in his mouth, he didn't say that, that's fine. But it seemed like he's a pretty high up in Social Security. You should watch that if you get a chance. I think we talked for like an hour, maybe even over an hour. We talked before that for a while. Just a good guy, man. I'll just show you the metrics here. I'm a big fan of Andrew Biggs. He and I would agree on a lot, but not everything. In fact, he said my plan was more like the Bernie Sanders plan, which was kind of funny. He said, look, it was just funny. I was laughing. I said, man, I get called freaking Nazi because I like the Trumpster, and I'm being called Bernie Sanders guy, which I'm not. Trust me, I'm not a Bernie Sanders guy at all. But I still think at the end of the day, Social Security is not nearly as dire straits as people are making it seem. It is just, I don't understand why so many people are just negative Nellies on this stuff. But it still needs to be, structured better. I mean, there's no other way around that. And Andrew talked about that to some degree. But he's still optimistic. He's not negative Nelly himself, even though he's knee deep in the Social Security, system. But anyway, so I said, hey, what I think they should do is just tax, the guys who make over $1 million a year, tax their qualified dividends. I mean, your qualified dividends, long-term capital gains, even if you're in the, the 37% tax bracket, still only taxed at 20. You got 3.8%, Obamacare surtax on that. So you're still 23.8%, which is significantly lower than what your ordinary income is. So, and if we're talking about Warren Buffett, because he wants to pay more taxes than his secretary, well, the easy way to do that is you get a dividend there, Mr. Buffett, pay freaking Social Security tax on that. I don't, that seems pretty done and done. It doesn't have to be 6.2%, but, Obama, frankly, and was Obamacare surtax, but George W. Bush, who put the beginning of the IRMA in there, the premium payments on Medicare if you have a certain amount of income. So these trying to make these Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid more fiscally solvent are bipartisan for sure. So I'm like, why not just say, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates Sr., who want all more taxes on us working stiffs. Because if you remember, Bill Gates Sr. was a big advocate for a Washington state income tax and an estate tax, or it was an income stack back a few years back. I'm like, dude, why don't you stroke a check there, big guy? You can do it. So what I say is, look, why don't you just make it taxes, QDI, qualified dividend income, and long-term capital gains. They're already getting favorable treatment. And if you're making over $1 million, I literally don't care what the number is, but just say you're going to add an extra about 3.5% to help fund Social Security. That seems to be a winner for me. It's interesting what Andrew's saying, and he did an article on this, but he's saying if we did have to cut back Social Security by 22%, like the intermediate numbers look like. So remember, Social Security got a low cost, an intermediate cost, and a high cost. Now, look, I'm not challenging Andrew Biggs on this. I mean, he knows more about Social Security than I know in his freaking pinky than I know in my whole life. But the interesting thing was when he was talking about the low cost, which essentially be the more optimistic. He was saying it was like a one half of 1% chance that all comes to fruition. And what that meant was you have the unemployment, you have GDP growing at a certain clip, inflation, interest rates at a certain clip. And I get that. If you read the trustees report, it says it explicitly in there that if all the low cost stuff is to come to fruition and make Social Security more solvent than what we're anticipating, it's a one and one half 1%, if that makes sense, likelihood of that happening. But the issue with that is that's not all likely to happen. I get that, but we're sitting there thinking, all right, so the unemployment is the big one for sure. You know, the GDP growth, I think if you look at it, we're within spitting distance of what they're saying with GDP. The interest rates, I don't think are a big issue. They're not big, and that's not a huge revenue generation for Social Security anyway. And what is it? Interest rates, GDP, the population, that's what it was. So a lot of people are saying, well, the demographics and my argument about Social Security and inflation, and generally speaking in the US, is that we're more like Japan than not. So we're not hyperinflationary at all. But the millennial generation is significantly larger than my generation, significantly larger. And that's just the babies. That's not even the immigrants thrown in there. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, population growth isn't doomsday scenario like in China and Japan. It's just not. Population growth in the United States, if you look at the millennials, is a big jump from the millennial generation, from my generation to millennials. So you got the baby boomers, then it drops off like a brick, and then you got the millennials, which comes up again. And then you throw in immigrants. I just don't get the issue that population growth demographics is doomsday. It's just not. So you got good, relatively decent GDP, low interest rates, which is a negative. I would presume to be high employment, just looking at the Japanese model. You got demographic shifts in the favor of Social Security. I don't know, long story short, I don't quite buy that Social Security is in doomsday scenario. I just don't, frankly. And then there's another one on that too. I forgot what it was. But long story short, it was a very interesting conversation, and we still need to fund it for sure. Oh, that's what he said. So he said if you did have to cut it by 22%, the taxpayer would save $300 billion for having to do that. I wasn't quite grasping what he meant by that, but he had written an article in Forbes on that, which I want to read, or maybe it's an American Enterprise Institute. I can't remember. But he basically, his premise was if you have to cut benefits because it's not funded enough, that's essentially it's a wash, because the taxpayer will save the $300 billion in taxes. It was interesting. I didn't grasp it, and I meant to read the article before I came on here today. I just forgot. All right, so let's go down. So hey, watch that video. Watch that, man. I'm telling you, that guy is freaking awesome. I love the guy. I'll marry him. So as of right now, on that video, we've had 1,700 views, which is pretty sweet. I mean, like, I know some of these channels like Graham Stephan and stuff, they get, tens of thousands. I'm not shooting for tens of thousands. I'm shooting for good views in terms of, because I want to be a little bit deeper of a dive. We've had 41,000 watch time minutes, and the average view duration is 23 minutes. That, I tell you, that is nuts. That's nuts. So we've had almost 2,000 views, and basically in a 24-hour time frame. 23 minutes is the average watch time. That's freaking crazy. And then we got 41,000 minutes of watch time. It's just, obviously people felt that it was an important video. So watch it. I do would appreciate that. And then read whatever Andrew writes. If that guy writes it, you need to read it, because there's not that many people that are the optimistics when it comes to retirement planning. All right. So let me just stop for it. I'll see what else we got. Happy Sunday, Jack. Still tuning the plan with VG. Right on, man. Right on. Right on. Rick says, my wife is 72. Based on the Secure Act, can she make a contribution to an IRA in 2019? I'm still working, and we filed jointly. Man, I was just listening to a podcast while I was grilling, See if I can't find it. My man Jeff Levine. Yeah, let's see here. It's a Morningstar podcast with Christine Benz, and you see that's Jeff Levine, where he's talking about all things Secure Act. And the answer to your question, my understanding is yes, Jack, who's this, Rick. But don't take me as God's spoken truth, because the way I understood it is absolutely you can contribute to the IRA. Obviously, you have to have earned income, and I'm sure there's still some limits on if you can take the tax deduction. But the Secure Act actually is interesting because I did learn something from listening to Jeff Levine. He said the Secure Act, if you're under 10 years as a beneficiary, so if I leave it to my brother's 5 years younger than me, he said if you're under 10 years of the beneficiary of the decedent, so I die, my wife is dead, I leave it to my brother, he does not have to take it out within 10 years. The Secure Act distribution 10 years table does not apply. And it doesn't have to be a spousal beneficiary. It can be anybody. It can be a non-spouse beneficiary as long as they're within 10 years of the age of the decedent, if that makes sense. And I did not know that. So that was interesting. Not that many people would do that, but that was interesting to me. So if you are single, or you don't have children or something like that, or you don't want your children to shoot up their arm, you want to leave it to your sister or something like that, then they do not have the Secure Act 10-year distribution schedule. Does not apply to them as long as they're within 10 years of your date of your age. If that makes sense. And also something else about it too. The Secure Act does not apply to minors who are the children of the decedent until they become the age of majority. And I didn't know that either. So that was interesting to me. So I die, I leave it to freaking little Johnny, who's 2 years old. He does not have to take it out within 10 years. Hey, buddy. He doesn't, the Secure Act for distributions won't apply to him until he becomes the age of majority. Then at 18, whatever's left in there, he has to take it over 10 years. Anyway, so I did not know that. So just keep that in mind. Lots of stuff. All right. Yeah, USFL. I love USFL. Anyone I use VBK, Jordan. That's and that's my what I have on my M1. Absolutely. Small cap growth ETF. You want that in your taxable accounts, bar none. You do not want dividends in your taxable accounts. You want your no taxes, no low turnovers ETFs in particularly, and then low dividends in your taxable accounts. VBK is perfect for that. Ellie, what's going on? Or Eli, what's going on? Eli, there you go. Hey, bud, I own 3 buildings, bringing me after I pay mortgage $6,000. Should I quit my job and manage? Man, I don't know, brother. Didn't you ask that last week? I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Too many ifs in that. Too many things to look at for sure. Anyone have a favorite high yield savings account? Who was I talking to? Didn't we look up this? I don't know. I was looking at, someone was telling me about the Ally looked okay, but someone was telling me about something else. I forgot what it was. Man, I can't remember. If anyone knows, there was a good high yield savings account. I forgot what it was now. I can't remember. Someone told me about the other day. Tell me you saw a snake of empty beer cups. We had going the Defenders game yesterday. New York Sox chance to, yes. Oh man, Matthew, New York Sox chance to, that makes my heart melt. Yes, indeed. And for all my New York friends, DJ Dozier, that's what it was. New York Sox, how bad? Oh man, that's classic. And then of course the Defenders smoked them. Ally, that's what it was. Yep. Yeah, Ally has no penalty CDs. I did notice that myself. That's pretty good. All right, so here's my man Alcan. He just inherited a 401k. Is with Transamerica. So presumably that's an annuity. It's worth about $400,000. Should he leave it there or move it elsewhere to stretch IRA? Well, if it's actually a 401k, then it's probably not an annuity. All right, so the stretch IRA rules now, what was it? It depends. Well, I was just listening to guy Jeff. He said if you're grandfathered in for the stretch IRA, if you're already doing it, but you're not grandfathered in by and large. So I'm going to assume you're not grandfathered in, because he said something about if you're grandfathered in if you're already doing it, or if you're 70 and a half. I can't remember what it was, but basically, unless you're taking your RMDs, you're not grandfathered in. So you're not going to be able to do a stretch IRA. I presume, Al. So then you got an inherited 401k. I'd get out of Transamerica. Absolutely. I mean, it's a free insurance company. That's what I would do. And then you can take it over at least over 10 years either way, you have to take it out over 10 years, 401k or IRA. So I'd just move to an IRA and start thinking about withdrawing over 10 years. That's $40,000 a pop, not including growth. Do I use it with VTSAX? No, I don't. So my two accounts are an IRA that I have at USAA, but it's all Vanguard, which I have VTV, Victory Tango Victory, or Victor Tango Victor, which is the Vanguard large cap value ETF, index ETF. And then I got VDIGX, which is the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund, if a memory serves. So I got VDIGX and VTV in my IRA. I have no Roth, and I have VBK, which I'm funding on a monthly basis. Hey, Gary, what's going on, man? Right on. All right, oops. Oh, Kevin, do I like Voog? All right, so my man Kevin gave me $2. And so if you give me money, you get to the front of the line, baby, because I'm a money grubbing, as my man Matt Christensen says. I don't know if y'all ever follow Matt Christensen. He does a live video same time I'm doing this, which I catch on the replay, but people give him money to so weird. People give him money to it's just weird. It's funny. S&P 500 growth index fund. I got no problem with Kevin. I got none. The growth has, I don't want to say dwarf, growth has beaten the S&P 500 value for 10 years now. And the reason I don't have the growth, I have the value, is because I'm a glut for punishment, man. Because I think I know better than the market, and I know I don't. And yet here I am still thinking at some point everything reverts to mean. And so at some point value is going to presume to be seen as the opportunity that it is, and growth will kind of slide away. So growth has done freaking insanely well. And value's done well too, but not to the extent that growth has. But at the end of the day, I look at it like this. I look at the growth dividend is less than, well, I guess it won't show me here. Let's see. Yeah, it's not going to show me? Come on, man. All right. So, hold on a second. It says chart unavailable. Hold on a second. There we go. So the growth, the yield on the growth is 1.23. The PE doesn't say, but I think the PE is like 28, 29. And that bothers me. And then you have the value, the yield is like 2 3/4, something like that. And the PE was like 18. So just from a price earnings perspective and a dividend yield perspective, the value just looks better. And if you just look historically speaking, and look, anything can change. I'm telling you, but who knows? But if you look at it historically, whatever starts lower goes higher in terms of valuations. The lower the valuations, the more you can kind of expect in future returns. It just makes sense. I mean, if you're starting up here and I'm starting down here, I mean, more likely mines are going to go up just because we're starting at a lower base, if that makes sense. And they got studies. Who's my man Ed Easterling? Hold on just a second. Nope. Hold on just a second. Oh man, I guess I'm gonna keep that book here. Hold on. Right here. Oh, sweet. All right. So my man Ed Easterling, and if you look at research affiliates, and Ed, this is called Probable Outcomes, and he's with Crestmont Research, Hey, look, these guys have been wrong for a long time. And what I mean by that is they've been relying on the CAPE, the cyclically adjusted PE ratios from Robert Shiller over at Yale, to insinuate the market is just too highly valued. And because of that, there's not much upside. And you know, I mean, I read this in 2011, and I could be, but there's still tons and tons and tons of just wonderful tidbits about the markets that you just won't hear on Market Watch. That's for sure. So Crestmont Research, there's a Crest. I can't remember if it's without the T, but Crestmont Research, anything from research affiliates. I mean, all these, see, the problem is all these guys that use research affiliates are called the smart beta guys. And that's a Bob Arnott, a Robert Arnott, and these guys. And what they're saying is, look, instead of doing a market cap weighted S&P 500, we're going to do an equal weighted S&P 500. I did a video on that a couple weeks back. I think it was Mark Hubner from Market Watch did a analysis of both, and without question, the market cap weighted one beat the equal weighted one, other than this short time frame. This might bore you guys to death. That's fine. But the problem that comes with all this stuff is at the end of the day, if you look historically, if it's low relative to earnings and high relative to earnings, historically, low relative to earnings outperforms high relative to earnings. Will that happen? I don't know. But I do believe that. And because that's why I have the value over the growth. A long freaking winded answer to your quick question. That's what you get when you come on here. You get professionalism in my, well, you can't really see that. Wear my sweatpants. You get a dog that jumps up on my lap, and you get long freaking winded answers to your question. That's not even an answer, is it? But I like VTV. That's just. All right, D, my man Moon. Future healthcare plan will qualify for TRICARE Prime age 60. Okay. Medicare and TRICARE for life at age 65. Better half will be 61. Does this mean she'll remain on Prime when I start TRICARE for life? Oh man, that's a great question. I'm sure it does. It seems like I can, if anyone knows. So my man Moon is retired military. He'll have TRICARE for life at 65, but you have TRICARE Prime until Medicare kicks in. Does wife, who's 4 years younger than him and a whole lot better looking, if we can admit it, will she get to stay on TRICARE while he goes on Medicare? I'm 98% sure she can, but if anyone knows in terms of, it'd be nuts if she could not. I mean, think about it. The military says, hey, Moon, great for your service, but we're going to kick your wife off. That's what they used to do at USA, by the way. When husband died, because most of it's just military men, officers, back in the day, wife had like I think it was like 90 days to find some other insurance. It was nuts. People used to be pissed. That wasn't even that long ago, probably 20 years ago. Oh, maybe 30 years ago. But I think the answer to your question is she'll be fine. But let's find out if anyone else knows. Dennis says, he's retired. My spouse still works. Can she contribute to my Roth as is? Absolutely. I mean, it depends on the income that she's bringing in. But yes, absolutely, Dennis. As long as there's one earned income in your married filing, jointly tax filing situation, you can absolutely contribute to a Roth. Income limits apply. But yep, absolutely. Both y'all can. So, I mean, what I say, let's just say she's freaking, I don't know, volunteering for, as a low-paid Bernie Sanders campaign employee, because Bernie doesn't want to pay the 15 minimum wage that he wants everybody else to pay. So she's making $5 an hour, we'll just say. And so she's gonna make, 14,000, we'll just say she'll make 14,000 over the course of her 80-hour work week working for Bernie Sanders, because he doesn't pay overtime either. So what happens is she'll make $14,000. She can put 7,000 in a Roth for you and 7,000 in a Roth for her. It's great, as long, again, income limits apply. In this case, it wouldn't be an issue, but absolutely. I'm using 7 because my memory serves 7 is the max you can do if you're over 50. So I'm presuming she's over 50. It might be 6,500. I don't have my little cheat sheet here, but just keep in mind this changes every year. I just off the top of my head, I can't remember. Well, let's just say $7,000 if you're over 50. All right, Richard K says, welcome, Richard. If I sell my business at 62, will that cut my Social Security if the proceeds of the sale gets paid over 5 years? I don't get, why would that cut in Social Security? I'm not following why that cut in Social Security, Richard. So if you want to elaborate. Uh, VI VigorX, my man Rob says VIGRX is a Vanguard large cap growth. Okay, there you go. Do that with do the VBK with VIGRX. I think FUG, like you're saying, Jordan. I think that is the large cap growth ETF, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. The large cap growth index. There you go. Hey, thanks, Rob. Andrew Biggs' interview is awesome. Yeah. Tom says no, she cannot contribute to your Roth, but can contribute to. Yeah, okay, gotcha. It's kind of coming from the same money pot, but literally right, it has to be you're contributing to your Roth, Dennis, absolutely. But through her having earned income, it's fine. All right, my man Jacksonville Jared. All right, from Jacksonville, the soon-to-be London Jaguars. What about SEP IRA? Good option for retirement. I'm self-employed tattoo artist, business owner. Yeah, I mean, man, I'm a big fan of. It just depends on what your income is, man. I mean, literally, it's it all comes back to if your income. So the way I look at it, if you're in a 12% tax bracket, right, and you're putting money into a SEP IRA, let's just say it puts you down to a 10% tax bracket. I'm just using that for an example. I'm just literally, let's just use this. And you're like, hey, I beat the government at this game. But then you wake up and now you're going to Social Security. You got required minimum distributions. You might have other sources of income and your wife might die. So now what was a 2% savings from 12 to 10 now becomes a 60% increase from 12 to 22. Because once you're in the freaking, once you're start taking money out of your IRAs and whatnot, plus Social Security kicking in. And if you're a single tax or going from married filing joint to a single taxpayer, now you're literally in a higher tax bracket. And it's a 60% increase. 12 to 22 is a 60% increase. 12 to 10 is a, I don't know what that is, 12.5% decrease. So in my opinion, it's just not worth it. On the other hand, if you're in a 22% tax bracket now, and you can save 22% on the amount you put in your SEP. And then when you retire, you're going to start pulling money out of your SEP and you're going to have Social Security. Now you're in a 10 or 12% tax bracket. Absolutely makes sense without question. You just got to look at what your tax bracket is today relative to what's going to be in the future. And everybody always says their tax bracket is going to be lower in the future. I'm just telling you, I don't, where's the evidence of that? I mean, they could be, but everyone says, I'll be lower in the future because I won't be working. Like that. You don't know that. In fact, I would argue if you're married filing jointly, that's likely not going to be the answer. Yeah, so then my man Theo from Dallas again says to Dennis, she cannot contribute to your Roth, but must have her own. Yes, again, that's just saying, hey, look, your wife can't stroke a check. Actually, I bet she probably could, to be honest with you, but let's just say you got to stroke a check for your Roth. Dennis, and she, the better half, would have to stroke a check to her Roth. But again, as long as she has the earned income, you're fine. Yeah, exactly. Mary Beth says, if you're a single with a large cash bucket in a savings account, would you do Roth conversions once you retire and have no income? Yes, indeed. Presumably. Because just because you have no income would make me attractive to do Roth conversions, but you still got to live off some money. All right. So you're going to have to pull money. Well, you got a large cash bucket. There you go. No, unequivocally, Mary. So the issue is she has to live off something. Well, she's going to live off her large cash bucket. So she has a large cash, the barbell. She has a large cash bucket and a large IRA, theoretically. So you start pulling that money out of an IRA to convert while you're living off that cash bucket, man, that's a great setup, man. That's great. Do a comparison of Adams Diversified Equity Fund and any other fund you choose. I don't even know what that is, Roberta. The Adams, who is Adams? Never heard that. Doesn't mean it's bad, good, or otherwise. Just let's take a gander. ADX. So if it's a three-letter ticker, that means it's it trades like a stock. So why is this? why is a mutual fund trading like a stock? That is, I gotta look this up here. Hold on. I'm just looking at my phone. I want to look at a little bit more detail. It says fund, insinuating it's a mutual fund, but it has a 3-letter ticker, insinuating it's an ETF. But I wonder if it's a closed-end fund. Let's take a gander, shall we? I've never heard of Adams. Don't know anything about these guys. Let's just take a look. Has a very low PE ratio of 8.53, which is a very, I mean, they're buying bottom of the barrel stocks, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means they're buying stuff that has been beaten down for a while. It's only got a 40. This is odd to me. So it's got a PE ratio of 8.53. Come here, buddy. And it's got a dividend yield of less than 0.5%. Ooh, why are you running off? Man, I was spoiling him like crazy with some of my steak. Now he wants to run away from me. Yeah, so this got to be a closed-end fund of some sort. It's just weird to me, Roberta. Doesn't have much of a dividend, low PEs. It invested in gas companies or something. So let's take a gander. Yeah, this is an individual. This is a closed-end fund. Profile, which means it's very. Let's take a look here. So it's financial services of the sector. Is out of Baltimore. Self-managed investment trust invest in the public equity markets of the United States, invest in stocks of large cap companies across diversified sectors. It was formerly the Adams Express Company. I don't know anything about this. I mean, my Frank, I would not. It's just weird. I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to say it concerns me, but what's that about? Why has it got a 3-letter ticker? Why has it got a PE ratio of 8.5 with no dividend yield to speak of? Yeah, that's just odd to me. Let me just real quick see the volume. It trades 122 trades on average 231,000 shares a day. So that's good. At least has some volume there. I'd be a little bit nervous on that. I'm not going to lie to you. That would make me somewhat market cap 1.7 billion. Very small company as well. Yeah, I'd be hesitant to put my retirement money in that. And I don't know this guy from Adam. I don't know who the Adams people are, but that's just odd to me. So anyway, it's hard to go wrong with the index funds, Roberta. Just good old fashioned Vanguard index funds or Schwab index funds or Fidelity index funds. Hard to go wrong with them for sure. But let's see. All right. Why not just take the cap off of FICA? Yeah, because you're going to kill freaking small business people like me and my man, the tattoo guy up there. Take the cap off FICA because a lot of people are making 150 to 250,000 bucks. They're small business people. We're already paying 15.625 on each side, man. And then you got to factor in the Medicare. We're paying with 15.65 is what I'm paying right now. So if I make 150,000 bucks, I'm paying 15.65, and that does nothing to reduce my taxable income. And so you're really hurting small business people. No other way around that. So don't tax you, don't tax me. Tax that guy behind the tree, and that guy behind the tree is Warren Buffett. We want to get that guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of giving disincentive for people to go start their own business. I know. So I'd say no. And not it's anyway, just my own opinion. All right. So we got Bernie hated millionaires became one. Exactly. 3 houses, not 1, not 2, but 3 houses. Yeah, I like changing the bend points. My Terrapin fan. So basically, with the bend points you have on your first $960 that is in your AIME, your average index monthly earnings, that's what you're using your benefit on for Social Security. And from your AIME, you're going to get your PIA, your primary insurance amount. Fun, right? And you get your PIA at your FRA, your full retirement age. Woo, it's like being in the military. All right. So anyway, what happens here is your AIME the first $960 of your AIME, you get 90% of. I think the next roughly 4,500, you get 32% of. All right. So basically, it's a pretty significant slide down quite a bit. And so, I mean, you really got to have made hardly any money at all to have an AIME of only $960, if that makes sense. So most of us, the vast majority of us, are going to have a decent amount of money for Social Security in the second bend point, which is 32%. And if you just raise that puppy, that's going to pay, it will pay more beneficiaries for more income. That's a fact. But what the cost would be, well, I mean, what the cost would be that you take off the back of the Bernie Sanders, I mean, not the Bernie Sanders, well, I guess him too, because he's a millionaire, the Warren Buffetts of the world who are complaining that they're not paying enough taxes on their dividends. That's what you do. And you say, okay, we're going to get you there because dividends are unearned income. Whereas, this is earned income. So when I'm getting paid here tonight, my man, I think Kevin gave me $2. That's earned income. Dividends are unearned income. They're passive income. And look, nothing wrong with that in the least. Not really passive, but that's the way the tax code looks at it. So you say, okay, we're going to reward people to have earned income because earned income is subject to FICA. Unearned income is not. Unearned income is not subject to FICA. That's my argument. So you raise the bend point, second bend point. There is a third bend point. Once your AIME is over about $5,600 a month, that's at 15%. So there's a pretty significant drop from 90 to 32 to 15. It shouldn't be like that. It should be, let's say even 90 to 45 to 15. I don't get the thing where 90 to 32. I mean, that's a third of what the first bend point is. And then it's only being reduced by half after that. That doesn't make any sense, especially when the vast majority of us don't even have money into the third bend point. So I don't get that. Let's see. Why not just own MGK or a spell? Okay. Josh, the big problem would be if doctors found a way to enable everyone to live to 150, then Social Security would run out of money for sure. I don't see that happening, man. I'm not. I was watching Beat the Bush today. You ever watch that guy, Francis from Beat the Bush? I can't find his video. He was literally doing a video while his Tesla was driving him. That was cool. I'm very much looking forward to self-driving cars. I'm not convinced. I'm actually coming around on AI. I don't think it's going to be nearly what initially a lot of people are saying it's going to be. I just don't think. I forgot who it was, but I was listening to a podcast, and the guy saying, "Look, man, it's not nearly what people think. It's just not." I just off the top of my head, I can't remember. And he was giving some statistics. Said, "Man, I never even thought about it like that." It was very, very interesting. When I'm taking Pablo for a walk, that's where I get my podcast in for sure. Hey, my man Starling has said, let's see what Starling said here. Hold on a second. If you give me money, that's it. You don't have a question or anything, Starling? Appreciate you, man. I don't care what they say about those people in Hawaii. They're okay by me. All right. So I'm not convinced we're going to be living that much longer than we already are. I'm just not. Did you hear about the guy in Texas? By the way, my wife just told me this, that got off because now they can run DNA stuff to prove that you weren't the guy as opposed to prove that you could have been the guy. I just real quick, I hate to inject politics. I don't understand why we allow the prosecution to have so much power. I just don't get it. It's nuts to me. And I'm telling you, man, it's wrong. And these guys who are holding back evidence, these guys who are putting poor kids in jail because they might have had, been smoking dope or something. The whole thing is freaking nuts, dude. And so a guy spends 10 years in jail. He hadn't done anything wrong. And yet the prosecution said, well, this isn't conclusive that he didn't do it. I'm like, oh, so we're going to put people in jail because we can't prove he didn't do it? What the freaking hell is that? I'll tell you, what they say is a conservative, right? A conservative is a liberal who's been mugged. You know what a libertarian is? A libertarian is a conservative who's been falsely accused. Trust me, if you ever get falsely accused like your old buddy Josh has, it is freaking sucks, donkey, whatever. It sucks, dude. And especially when you know you're innocent. It's freaking wrong. And there's no recourse for the falsely accused. So I'm not a fan of having prosecution just have all this unlimited power. It's nuts to me. Anyway, the whole point I'm using that because Vinyl said we could all be living to 150, maybe. But I do like the idea of the DNA stuff where we're coming up with different solutions in order to free people who've been wrongly accused. All right, so let's keep going here. Okay. Yeah, Moon says that for you, Jacksonville, Jared, soon to be the London Jaguars, he's been looking at E-Trade individual 401k, and I did not know they did that, Moon. That's interesting. Fidelity used to be my go-to, really still is, but I'm interested that E-Trade is doing individual Ks. That's fantastic. Good. I did not know that. So for you small business people who want to really stack a lot of money away tax deferred, sounds like E-Trade has their own solo 401k now, which is awesome. Nancy with an E says, I'm concerned about RMD later on. I was wondering if contributing to a Roth 401k until I could retire would help with taxes now. Nah, Roth 401k won't help. Oh, not in okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. So Nancy, I'm concerned about RMDs later on. I was wondering if contributing to a Roth 401k now until I retire would help with taxes, barely in the 12% tax bracket now. Yeah, in that case, I think you're spot on, Nancy, without question. I don't know if you're married. I don't know what kind of money you got. I don't know, but I have a sneaky suspicion, given your previous comments, that you probably got a decent amount of that deferred. So the answer to your question, I would do the Roth 401k without question. Any thoughts on Mini Mike's just released retirement Social Security? I haven't heard anything about it, Mike. Mini Mike. Who's my wife watching? Terrence Williams. You ever see Terrence Williams? I don't do Facebook anymore, but man, that guy is funny. He had a big thing on Mini Mike today. It was, man, the guy just cracks me up. I don't know anything about it. I can assume it's ugly, that's for sure. Actually, I did a video on this over a year and a half ago, and I was listening to William Bernstein, and everyone, these academics, and so Bernstein is like one of the top guys in financial planning investments. I'm drawing a blank. What I can't remember. But anyway, I was listening to his thing again while I was out there with the steaks on the grill, being interviewed by Christine Benz, and he's incredibly pessimistic about retirement security because he's looking at the Boston College Center for Retirement Research National Retirement Security Assessment. That's what it was. National Retirement Security Assessment. And I did a video on this about 18 months ago, but because I do so many doggone videos, I can't find it that quickly. I need to title these better. But anyway, the problem was the freaking National Retirement Risk Assessment, whatever it's called, is freaking wrong. It's wrong, man. And if you watch my video I did with Andrew Biggs, the interview yesterday, he talks about just and he's a little bit more diplomatic than me. I just call it just freaking negative propaganda. And these guys have got to know. And he's using an example where he knows that people are nice people, but they're using numbers that are easy to debate, to dissect and to destroy. And yet when he says something, they don't respond to him because it's like they're hoping the Wookiees pull over people's eyes. And anyway, the whole thing I'm hearing, this is freaking William Bernstein, something like that. I'm like, you're falling for this? It's the weirdest thing. I just don't understand it, man. It's crazy. And what did Big say yesterday? Oh, we're talking about the World Economic Forum's study that the average retiree in America, in Europe, something like that, only has 5.5 years before they run out of money. It's just, it doesn't include the Social Security or any kind of whatever they have in Europe. It doesn't include your pension that you get from the government. I'm sitting there thinking, and so then I saw another study today off my my list, but my thing here from World Economic Forum. I said, I don't believe a freaking thing these guys say. It's insane. I forgot what it was, but it's like, if you are not going to if you're going to put out this piece of literature that's inherently just stupid, that says the average retiree or whatever is going to run out of money in 5.5 years and not factor in Social Security. I mean, that's just, it's insanity to me. And I sit there and I think, what the hell are these people doing? And then I sit there and I think there's a guy like freaking Bill Bernstein. I'm like, I don't. It's nuts. I'm literally listening to this interview, and I'm like, I can't believe this. It's not just some freaking idiot on YouTube like me spouting off. It's like the guy. Crazy. All right. I like when Andrew said to negotiate something Republicans want in exchange for high Social Security tax and income. I think you're talking about the youngster. Well, we're gonna have a come to Jesus moment at some point, man. Cute humor. And and we want both sides on board. I mean, that's what they did in '83. Reagan signed it. The Republicans owned the Senate, the Democrats owned the House. '93 was all Clinton, and that was not good. And the ACA was all Democrats. None of that's good, man. I mean, we want it to be some kind of bipartisan. Andrew was not big on the Social Security 2100 Act that John Larson talks about. If you watch Devin Carroll's video, he interviewed Larson, my man Devin Carroll. I'm not a big fan of that either. Off the top of my head, I can't remember why. I've done a couple of videos on that. Initially I was like, but I'm not a big fan. I forgot what it was off the top of my head, but there are two things that jumped out at me on that. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was getting rid of the cap. That's stupid. Don't get rid of the cap, man. I just keep the cap. I forgot what it was, but it's something else too. It's like, I can't remember. But anyway, at some point they have to have a come to Jesus moment here, and there's got to be bipartisanship. No other way around it. No one will ever get anything through if it's one side on Social Security, because you're going to see the Democrats saying Mitch McConnell wants to push grandma off a cliff, and then you'll see the Republicans saying they want to tax you to pay for illegals or something like that. I mean, the stuff is just so. It's boring. It's boring, especially when Social Security is not going away. I got libertarian. I'm on Ricochet, which is kind of like a center right forum, and I'm sitting there with these guys. And I said how Republicans can win on Social Security by basically doing some of the things I'm proposing here, and they all just said, Social Security is a moral taxation step. But I was like, look, all that's theoretically might be true. It doesn't change the fact that we are living in reality, not some freaking Ayn Rand novel. And I like Ayn Rand. But come on, let's do reality, man. Reality is we're not getting rid of Social Security, and we need to strengthen it. And the Republicans can win on this if they freaking pull their head out of their butt, but I don't think they will. Maybe when the current IRS tax brackets expire in 2026 in exchange for higher Social Security tax on income. My late Roberta says, I'm self-employed. Can I contribute to a solo, a SEP, and an IRA and get a deduction for all three? Oh, man. All right. So you can do a solo, but you can't do a SEP. Those are employer-sponsored plans, but you can do one of those two, which a solo is preferable, frankly, Roberta. And you can still do an IRA, absolutely. But you can't do a solo and a SEP because they're both considered employer-sponsored plans. And so of the two, the solo is absolutely the way to go. But remember, if you're self-employed and you only have you and your spouse, you can do the solo. If you have you and friggin' the lady across the street who's filing paperwork for you, you can't. It's got to be you and your spouse. Now, it's been a few years since I did much research on the solo, but just keep that in mind. That's the way it used to be. And I don't think that's changed. I don't do a solo. I don't. And the reason is because I just look, I'm kind of lazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just setting up that paperwork, I don't want to do. But also when you're self-employed, you just don't know the income. I mean, if my income was great last year, so far so good this year. Is that going to stay? I have no clue. So I'm just inclined to pay the stupid taxes while I got my 4 tax credits. I eat my 4 children. Well, I got big fat mortgage interest on this, and I got real estate taxes. I'm like, look, man, at the end of the day, if I'm paying 22% to Uncle Sam, to avoid what could be higher taxes in the future, I'll do that. But I'm kind of lazy in that regard. I just say, pay and be done with it. I just found this channel recently when searching for which brokerage to use for Roth IRA. Right on, Friddler. Friddler on the roof. All right, cool. So look, my search engine optimization. Which brokerage to use for Roth IRA? Old buddy Josh, his search engine optimization is working some degree. Some degree. Some of these titles I got in my old videos, I'm like, dude, what the hell is I thinking? I can't even find it. If I can't find it, you guys can. It's nuts. All right. Not a lot of tattoo artists think about retirement. I'd like to start planning early. I would look into E-Trade offerings. No, that's unfortunate. And you should also get a Jacksonville Jared. You should get a laser to a tattoo. Take the tattoos off, if that makes sense. I'm telling you, man, that maybe have that's going to be a huge potential later for sure. All right. Josh, if you leave your IRA to a minor who is not your child, does a kiddie tax apply? Why would I don't get why the kiddie tax would apply, because they're taking distributions out for RMD. Well, required distributions. So it won't be a kiddie tax; it's just be taxed as income to the recipient. So no, it's just gonna be regular, ordinary income for sure. If we type fast enough, Heritage planning won't even see every third question. Vinyl, I like dividends in my taxable accounts, pay 15% up to 2. Yeah, no, I get, brother, nothing's wrong with that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I would rather have dividends in my Roth, because instead of paying 15%, it's tax free. I would rather have growth stuff in my taxable account, because there is no taxes to speak of, no turnover, VBK for instance, and no dividends to speak of. So both are tax free. So in this case, I take my dividends out of my Roth, tax free. In this case, I have my growth just growing and growing and growing. You can do specific identifications to sell shares that you want in your taxable account, in which to avoid paying taxes in the future, to leave the unrealized gains to your heirs. And if you live in a community property and your heir is your spouse, she gets the whole thing free and clear as a step up in basis. Let me, well, I'm thinking, oh man, I guess I didn't bring that book. I was going to show you again the book by Vicky Schumacher, guys, on living trusts, understanding living trusts. Probably 20 years old. I think she's done updated. The last one was 2014. Talks about the difference between community property and common law. I don't have it back there. Maybe I don't. Anyway, so it's freaking fantastic. So if you live in California, Texas, Idaho, the Western states are all community property for the most part. And you live in common law, like me here in Georgia, and then of course Louisiana. Anyway, if you live in one of these community property states, you need to understand the difference between step up and basis for what you guys have relative to what we have, because you can literally leave everything to your spouse and have the 100% of it being step up, which is huge, man. Huge. How many financial advisors, hell, how many tax people are going to tell you that? No one's going to, because they don't know. I didn't know until I read Vicky Schumacher. And I'm a CFP, for heaven's sake. I read it now. I did read it in 2009. So it's going on over 10 years now since I've learned this, but it's a big deal. Yep, talked about the XFL, Jack. Already did. Love the XFL. Big fan. The Houston Roughnecks are my team, because I love the old Houston Oilers thing. And I just wish they had powder blue for sure. We got T-shirts for the Seattle Dragons for my son, Kevin. Liam's got DC Defenders T-shirts, and I got a hat that says Houston Roughnecks, or just the logo, and a T-shirt that says Houston Roughnecks. So we are all into the XFL. I hope they stay around. I love the idea of having that league. I love it. I think it's great. I just, like I said about the USFL, I wish the USL stuck around. Friggin' Trump, hate that guy, man. Friggin' Trump sued the NFL and won $1. Should have kept it as a spring league, man. Ay. Hey, Wealthfront's 1.78, says my man Jerry. Right on. And don't forget GW Life TV, Investing Retirement Life. You have my recommendation for all you all to click on Jerry's link and subscribe to his channel. Remember, you don't get paid on YouTube until you get 1,000 subscribers. So even if you're not going to watch any videos from anybody, once they get 1,000 subscribers, and you like them, they'll start getting monetized. And it won't be much. I mean, it takes time to get much in terms of monetization for views, but hell, friggin', a couple bucks a day helps. That's for sure. So if you're interested in my man Jerry there, watch his stuff. It's good stuff. Ed says, need to open a Roth IRA. Do you have a preference? I have an option of a 401k Roth. Is that a better option? My preference is Roth IRA over Roth 401k, simply because a Roth IRA you have more control. There's just no two ways around that for sure. And Roth, it's just you have more control. That's all there is to it. All right. Yeah. Josh usually catches up towards the end of the live cast, right on top. Okay. Lincoln Stable Value Fund is yielding 3%. Yeah, but can you get access to that? That seems like it's got to be in a 401k. Never heard of Marcus. Okay. Let's see. What's up, Pablo? Richard said, "What's up?" Yeah, Pablo's not hanging out tonight. He's with my wife and kids. I don't know, man. I was freaking spoiling him like crazy with steak, and the fat off the steak. I guess he used and abused me. He's like, I don't want anything to do with it anymore. Yeah, exactly. Where's Pablo? He was here for a second. I tried to pick him up, and he just said, I'm getting out. All right. Hey, Mary, what's going on in Connecticut? All right. Getting ready for Sunday night Bible study. Right on, Janine. Good too. Good on you for sure. All right. So since you're not paying extra on your mortgage, are you investing it or keeping it liquid? I assume that's for me. I says I am paying extra on my mortgage, and I vacillate if I should do that or not. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth because we're going to be out of this house probably in 8 years once old Liam is out of the house, and we're going to downsize something wicked. So I'm not going to have this thing paid off in 8 years. I just won't. So the question is, why even bother paying extra? Just because I set up for a monthly payment that's a little bit, I mean, for me, I just like nice round numbers. So if my mortgage is X, but X gives me a rounding error, I round up. So my mortgage is X plus Y, if that makes sense. And just, it's, I'm paying an extra $600 a month on it, but it's not gonna be paid off in 8 years. That's for sure. So the question is, why not just invest it? And I probably ought to, but So I invest on the side with VBK, and I pay off a little bit more of my mortgage. And it's kind of like I'm hedging, essentially, if that makes sense. Of course, the problem with selling your home is it's only valued what someone will buy it for you. So from you. So, I could theoretically be building up equity by paying off my mortgage. But if someone, gives me a low ball offer, and we're back in 2007, all the extra money is gone. I mean, of course, that all the extra money would have been gone in the markets too. But 2007 and 8 was just devastating. I mean, you think about it. Your house dropped in value significantly. A lot of you lost your jobs, as I did not. But I mean, I literally wasn't making any money. And oh boy, my man Jack is emailing me, has no turnover. It texted me, but Jack, with a Vanguard ETF, the turnover doesn't matter. The capital gains, that's the thing about the Vanguard ETFs, man. The turnover is negligible from a capital gain perspective because Vanguard has that. They have that. I'm drawing a blank. Them and Eaton Vance have a patent on how they don't have to pay taxes on their turnover. It's nuts. It's nuts. So my man Jack, who I'm a fan of, he texted me. And he said, hey, how are you saying Vanguard VBK doesn't have turnover? Well, the turnover is A, is going to be low simply because it's an ETF, but B, because Vanguard's patent on their taxes, which I don't understand why other firms don't have, means it's not taxable to you. It's crazy, nuts. But anyway, I'm paying down my mortgage and I'm paying into investments. That's what I was going to say, 2007 and 8. So you probably lost your job. Your 401k fell, if it's all in S&P 500, 55%. From 2007 October to March 2009, and your house is probably down, 20% or something like that. I mean, talk about just horrific. Who survived in 2007 and 8? It's people who had two things: cash and people who had government bonds. Thus, going back to the Ginnie Mae, VFIIX. Everybody and their mom thinks Ginnie Mae and Fannie Mae are one and the same. They are not. Ginnie Mae is a government bond. And you know that because if you looked at the returns of, we'll just use Vanguard Ginnie Mae fund, it was up 7.5 or something like that in 2008. Fannie Mae should have just went kaput and gone bankrupt. And some of those executives of Fannie Mae should have been jailed. Let's just put it that way. But no, we want to go after Michael Flynn and Roger Stone. What the hell is that? But anyway, Fannie Mae did not go up 7.5%. Ginnie Mae did because Ginnie Mae is literally a government bond. Treasury bonds also went up. Everything else went down. So just keep that in mind when people talk. When I talk about my barbell approach, I have the Ginnie Mae for the safe barbell. I got stocks for the aggressive barbell. Ginnie Mae is not Fannie Mae. Please understand that, please. I do not want to be a hedge fund trader. No, sirree, Bob. Oh, NUA, here we go. So I have 525 in company stock. Whoa. And my cost, so, okay, it's at 320. My cost basis is 114. When transferring in kind, you have to pay tax then, or as you sell. No, you have to pay tax on the, as ordinary income on your cost basis, Rich. That's a pretty significant, I don't know what that is, but that's, $200,000. You have to pay ordinary income tax right out the gate. I mean, literally in that year. I mean, that's a lot of money. You have to pay ordinary income tax in order for the privilege of having long-term capital gains later on. I don't personally, for me, I've never been a fan of NUA. I mean, there are certain examples where it seems to have worked in hindsight, but NUA means, I mean, you got one company stock, you're hoping it doesn't go to the south. And that's a pretty significant hope. B, you're inherently immediately paying ordinary income on the amount at your cost basis. And if you're under the age of 59 and a half, it's a premature distribution too. So it's a 10% tax on that. So so what you're doing is you're saying, look, I'm going to transfer $200,000 and I'll pay tax on that as ordinary income. So that my $325,000, I'm just making that, I don't know if that's true, I can sell later on for long-term capital gains. But what if that 325,000, we have a year like we did in 2007 and 8 or 2001 and 2? And, tons of guys at Merrill Lynch got hammered, sued, as rightly should, for talking to people about NUA and basically saying and doing all kinds of stuff with company stock. Let's just use pets.com. Oh man, just transfer it out. And then there's nothing left. And yet they still have to pay the taxes on it. Yeah. Look, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, I don't think it's all that in a bag of chips. I just don't. Let's see. Plus, with Roth, you can still get the company match typically. You want to take the money, okay. Thanks, you got it, Kevin. Have you ever considered a plan using some technical analysis into your plans? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of technical analysis. Dorsey Wright, I've always been interested in that group down there in Richmond. They used to be in Richmond, Virginia. Look, I know my man Alberto, he's not on here. He talks about the moving averages, 200-day moving averages. My issue is this stuff bores me. I don't want to be involved in, I don't want to do all that stuff. I just say buy the index and be done with it. I just think there's so much better use of your time. In fact, I was thinking about this just today. You think about all the blood, the ink that is spilled on, indexing versus technical analysis versus fundamental analysis versus large cap versus small cap and all that. And how many people are ignorant about the tax code? See what I'm saying? It's like, I'm sitting there thinking, if we just reallocate some of the time we're looking at, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, what Jack Bogle said, what Warren Buffett says, and what the guys on Motley Fool say, he said, no, let's focus on something that's actually going to be important, which is tax planning. And no one does, because it's not, I don't know why, frankly. For me, I love tax planning. Just looking at some 1040s with these people today for a client I had today. It's freaking, I love looking at, man, you want to talk about getting fired up. You see a 1040, and you see someone with Social Security, I think it was like $120,000 of Social Security, and only 30,000 of that was subject to tax. Not taxable, subject to tax. Making $150,000. I think they're going to pay, it was yesterday, but $150,000, they're going to pay, what is it? It's like $6,000 on total tax or something like that. Like, I think it's a 4.5% effective tax bracket to tax rate. I mean, so all the talent in the world of being the next Peter Lynch or freaking, what's that guy's name? Jeff Greenblatt or whatever his name is. Okay, I mean, you're not going to be that guy. Peter Lynch is lucky. Is Warren Buffett lucky? I don't know. Basic statistics would tell us that there's always going to be someone lucky. There's always going to be someone have bad luck. Doesn't mean Warren Buffett's smart. Doesn't mean bad luck guy is stupid. Just means there's always going to be one guy out here and always going to be one guy out here. Anyway, but we can, without having anything luck, say, we're going to save ourselves a boatload of taxes by looking at the tax code, how it works. I'm sitting there thinking, man, so going back to the thing with dividends, everyone can do whatever the hell they want. I don't care. But if someone's paying me big money for my financial planning, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to say, look, if you don't do this, this is the net result from a tax perspective, which is money out of your pocket, money that you'll no longer be able to give to charity, to your kids, or spend. Or if you do this, you're going to have $30,000 of $130,000, whatever it was, of Social Security, of which only $30,000 is subject to taxation. And because your effective tax rate is like 5%, that means you're literally paying 5% taxes on whatever the income was. Nothing. Oh man, if that doesn't freaking rock your world, I don't know what will. So I'd much rather take somebody saying, look, let's do this, let's don't do that, and buy the index. Now, am I a hypocrite because I do a little bit of my own fundamental analysis? Yeah, I buy the Vanguard Value Index because my fundamental analysis says that I've ingrained in this from the French FAMA three-factor investing strategy, which I read in 1994. Low price to book, high dividend yield, low PE. That's the value stocks. And the French FAMA, the DFA, Dimensional Fund Advisors, who've now used this whole thing, evidence-based investing. Oh, we're got evidence on our side. It's freaking stupid. Look, I'm not saying French FAMA is stupid. I'm telling you. I'm saying anyone who says we use evidence-based investing to show you how scientific this is, it's freaking dumb. This isn't a science. I mean, it's freaking emotional. It's not rational. Human beings, man. There's not science behind that. But what they did say is historically, value stocks outperform growth stocks. Jeremy Siegel said value stocks outperform growth stocks, except the reason that's true because there's a short time frame from 1974 to 1981 or something like that, where value stocks so outperform growth stocks that it made it look like the modern era of investment that value stocks outperform. But you take away that 7-year time frame is basically par, which is why I say, well, if they basically are par going back to 1926, the modern era of investing, and growth has outperformed value for the last 10 years, then me as a contrarian says I should go with value, which I guarantee is going to be a losing proposition because it's just the nature of who I am as an investor. If I invest in it, it does less well than if you invest in it. It's just all there is to it. But there I am. So I am I would not say on market timing. That is a fundamental analysis, not just buying the index, which is stupid. No other way around that. But I don't care about all that because it's boring and you're never going to win. What I do care about is the tax because that is not boring and you can win if you know what the hell you're doing. But everyone wants to talk about, oh, I don't know what the hell is peaking. I mean, let me give you an example. For many, many, many years, Bill Gross used to run the PIMCO Total Return Bond Fund. The PIMCO Total Return Bond Fund killed bond funds across the board. It's just like everyone's like, Bill Gross, you are the man of all men. You are the Mac of all daddies. Can we have your children? Well, did you know, if you looked at the PIMCO Total Return Bond Fund, that it was leveraged significantly at 30%. And so basically, it had 30% leverage on treasury bonds. So what that meant was the leverage means they could borrow to invest more. All right. Now, if you're leveraging, well, hell's bells, I hope you're making more money than your freaking non-leveraged neighbor there because you're taking on a hell of a lot more risk and essentially have more assets. You have more assets to grow for you. But a leveraged portfolio also means what? It means you took on debt. And what can debt do? It can make you go to the poorhouse. That's all there is to it, man. Debt is the enemy. Seems like someone should have written a book about that. Oh, I did. In one of my chapters, the very first chapter is debt is the enemy. Because debt is not a surefire way for future wealth. Debt is a surefire way for future poverty. No other way around that. No one goes bankrupt because they have no debt. People go bankrupt because they have debt. Anyway, the point about that was everyone and their mom would say, Bill Gross, Total Return Bond Fund, I'm going to buy it. It's going to be, it's going to be great. Do they know what they're buying? No. Anyway. All right. That doesn't seem like you'll pay full tax. 7K. Okay. Let's see. Would you still qualify? I guess you guys are having a conversation about NUA before I jumped on there. Wendy, my hub is on Medicare and I'm still on TRICARE for life. Well, you're on TRICARE for life. Are you on TRICARE Prime, Wendy? That's the question. I'm not sure if Wendy answers that or not. TRICARE for life is when you hit 65. TRICARE Prime is what my man Moon was talking about. My man Mark says technical analysis may help with the turns from value to growth, such as energy today versus tech, plus a simple moving average, such as the 10 months moving averages above green light. Again, I don't maybe it's by all means do it. I would take time to do other things actually. All right, so Ed says, if I have 25K in after-tax dollars and transfer it to a 401k, can I move it all to a Roth if I'm limited to 7K a year? All right, so if I have 25K in after-tax dollars and a standard 401k, oh, I see what you're saying. Can I move it all to a Roth? I don't know, Ed. I don't know off the top of my head. I just can't remember. So is it after-tax contributions to your 401k, can that be converted automatically 100% to your Roth? I don't know. If anyone knows, I'd put it in there. I just can't remember. My man Doug and Tejas. Without old Josh, I couldn't be living the dream. What day is it? Oh, man. Thanks, Mom. Meg, I haven't seen you around for a while, Meg. Hey, Andrew, Meg says Andrew Biggs' interview is wicked good. Get it, wicked? Where do you think Meg's from? I just don't want to run out in 2034 or dropped amount paid to be. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Meg. It's not run out. You're not going to take a pay cut. It's not happening. I'm just telling you, man. The idea that no one's taking a pay cut on Social Security. Maybe the rich people, but no one's taking a pay cut on Social Security. Do you still, okay, there you go. So Rich, okay, well, if it's not to a taxable account, all right, so they're talking about NUA. Rich, it is to a taxable account. What happens when you do NUA is you're literally taking the money out of a 401k, putting the cost basis into a taxable account. That's literally what's happening. And because that's a distribution, that is not going to an IRA, it is going to a taxable account. But because that's a distribution, that distribution is taxed as ordinary income of your cost basis. It's not going to an IRA. That'd be a rollover. All right. So that you got to be, I'm not sure what the conversation was, what you guys were talking about, but the fact you're saying it's not to a taxable account, it will be going to a taxable account. I'm telling you, that's the whole point, because it goes to a taxable account, you sell it, you'll get to sell it for long-term capital gains. But anyway, I don't want to revisit that because we already talked about that. You got it, Jacksonville, Jared. You can take, I'm just not a fan of 72 Ts. A lot of people are. For me, it just, I don't know. I mean, so 72 Ts are separately equal periodic payments. So you take them before you're 59 and a half, you can take out a certain amount of money on a regular basis for 5 years or until you're 59 and a half, whichever is longer, without being subject to the penalty. However, always remember, folks, if you separate, like my man today, if you separate from service after 55, the amount of money that's in that 401k plan, as long as you do not roll it over to an IRA, is accessible to without penalty. It's more and more people are seeing this now, but it's amazing to me how many people still don't know this. So so I'm 55. I just separated from my crap little job. I got $180,000 in my 401k. I need, I don't know, let's see, 180 divided by 4, 45,000 a year. Math, see that math right there, 45,000 a ye00 I need 45,000 a year to live on. I'm going to take 45,000 a year from my 401k because I'm leaving it in my 401k. That 45,000 will be taxed as ordinary income, but it will not be subject to 10% penalty because I separate from service is actually after the age of 54, 55 or beyond, and I did not roll it over to an IRA. So the guy I was talking about today, the guy and the husband and wife, I said, man, you should put that 401k money into your stable value fund, which he already did. And the reason was because he's going to live off that for the next 5 years. All right. So this is a perfect plan. So now we're going to live off our 401k. It'll be taxable as income. Don't get me wrong. There's no other income coming in. So essentially it's, I mean, I'm not going to say it's tax free, but it's pretty doggone cheap. And then they got a checking account that they're going to live on too. I think someone else was talking about this. I forgot who it was. It was a lady. Was it Mary? It was Mary. Mary said that. Same kind of scenario. So now they're living off 45,000 K plus whatever's coming from the checking account. Standard deduction, we'll just say 25,000 bucks. So their taxable income in this regard is $20,000. I mean, they're right at the 10% tax bracket. So it's going to cost them 2,000 bucks to pull $80,000 a year, 45 from their 401k, 35 from their checking account to live on. That's freaking fantastic, man. All the while allowing for their IRA money to start doing conversions, to grow. And now they're just touching the 401k. Let's say 4 years from now, they're 59 and a half, 401k is exhausted. Now you go in their IRA. It's freaking tax planning. Make it your friend. Make it your, don't focus so much on investing, man. Let's see, hold on a second. Let me show you. Hold on, right here. Wait, is this it? Oh man, this isn't the right book, but The End of Wall Street, but When Genius Failed by Roger Lowenstein or Stein. When Genius Fails, the one who talks about the long-term capital management debacle. So anyway, long-term capital management was literally the smartest guys in the room. I mean, literally, they're PhDs, physicists, statisticians, mathematicians. They're smarter than you and I. Let's just put it that way. And they almost took down the entire capitalistic financial market system. So if they can't do it with their models, I'm sorry, Dorsey Wright and the stuff on technical analysis, they have a thing, a CMT, a chartered market technician pedigree you can get. And look, if you enjoy it, by all means do it. I got no qualm with that if it's fun for you. Taxes are fun for me. But let's stop this facade that we can beat the market because we have a certain level of knowledge, or what is it, the green black guys. People get mad when I say, why even bother? People are like, oh, well, I'm going to take freaking third-rate investment advice from a guy in his freaking jammies. I'm like, look, I'm not giving you third-rate investment advice. I'm giving the best investment advice. Buy the market and be known with it. But if you enjoy this stuff, man, more power to you. People enjoy gambling. I don't, because I know when I bet on UVA versus Kansas, I was at the Great American Beer Festival in Denver. We went over to Las Vegas, and it was during the NCAA tournament. Or did we do it? Or was it in Las Vegas that year? Maybe we just went to Las Vegas. I can't remember. Anyway, this is back in my drinking day. And so let's just put it this way. I like a pint of Guinness. I'm not going to lie. But I don't like 1 pint of Guinness. I like 10 pints of Guinness. So I'm having one of my 10 pints of Guinness, and I'm watching a sports book. And I put $80 on UVA to beat Kansas. And UVA proceeded to lose to Kansas. And that $80 was just gone. And for me, I said, man, that's like, that's probably 6 pints of Guinness right there, or something like that, or 10 pints of Guinness that's just gone because of a stupid bet on kids. And I said, I can't do that again. People get addicted to it. Everyone has their peccadillos, and that's something I did not want to touch the 10-foot pole. I do think stock market trading, people have an addiction to it as well, because and that kind of in and out stuff, that's gambling. Don't be a gambler with your retirement money. Be an investor. An investor says I can hold on to these things for the long term. But again, if you enjoy it, man, I get no call that. Yeah, exactly. Final Earthling says, see, closed-end funds can be leveraged too. Hell yeah, they can. Big time, man. In 2020, okay, yeah, we talked about that. What is a good online savings account to put an emergency fund? I think a couple guys already answered that. Richard, they said, now I forgot what they said, Wealthfront or something like that. Ally, Rob says Ally. If you took the cap off, taking the cap off FICA isn't going to raise much in revenue. It's just all there is to it. Right on. Pulverizer. Wow. Pulverizer is a meat tenderizer. He says, I find a local credit union a fine place to have an emergency fund. Man, I could not agree with that more. I use a Navy Federal Credit Union, which has a branch is right down my neck of the woods here. I got my mortgage at Penn Fed, and then I use USA for everything else. And once USA goes to Schwab, I'll be going 100% Schwab. I'm a big fan of Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, by the way, folks. I did a couple videos on that in the middle of this week. I love it. It's got too much cash. Cash is an asset. I'm telling you right now, I love the Schwab Intelligent Portfolios. And they, $300 a setup if you want to talk to a financial guy, and $30 a month. I think that's a smoking deal. I think Schwab is they're becoming slowly but surely my go-to instead of Vanguard, which kind of sucks because I love the Vanguard Ginnie Mae, I love the Vanguard Wellington, and I love the Vanguard Wellesley Income Fund. And so now I don't think Schwab has anything like that, and I don't think he can get those funds at Schwab. So I got to think of something else. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like if you just want one or two funds, Vanguard. If you want some guy to help you on occasion, Schwab. Vanguard also has a personal advisory services, and that's okay. I just I know I don't think it's as robust as at least what I think is what Schwab is doing. All right, hold on just a second. Let me all right, sweet. Oops. What did I do here? I go back there. All right, cool. Oops, hold on. I just want to see how many people got watching. Almost 200. That's pretty cool. All right, let me get back to this thing right here. Oops, there we go. Cool. All right. Yeah, right. Buffett owns Berkshire Hathaway, doesn't have any dividends, but he's getting paid somehow. I mean, so either he's selling his stock. I mean, he's selling something. I mean, to get paid, something's going in. Because he says he makes more income than his secretary does because of the dividends that he receives. So he's getting paid dividends someplace. All right, so my man, okay, let's see here. How long before they start taxing us on medical coverage since they've been tracking our W-4 since the takeover? Doug, oops. Oh, man, I missed some stuff here. Ooh. All right, so I missed some stuff here, man. This happens all the time. All right, here we go. Where'd my man? All right, hold on a second. Nah, it's got to be more than 2 thumbs up, right? That's nuts. All right, so let's see. I'm looking for Josh. Okay, hold on a second. There you go. Okay, cool. Fish Stick Boy says, what's this stream about? Financial planning. Right on, Jerry. Appreciate that. All right. Doug says, go at 62 or not, have a small farm to fall back on, need more time on it, go or no? Doug, I need more than that, brother. Fish Stick Boy says, this is for boomers. Exactly. Vital Earthlink says millennials don't need money. Right on, man. Oh, that's funny. All right. Thanks, Paul, for everyone. 47-day in retirement, but 47 days until retirement, Jim, but who's counting? Michael Gibbs said, dear Josh, I'm looking for some information. Do you know where I can find out how the S&P 500 has performed under each president back to FDR? You should make a video on it. No, I imagine you just look at, I mean, you could go to, what's that website I look at? Hold on a second. It's, I will not make a website on video on that because it bores me, frankly. Don't take this wrong, Michael. For me, I don't care. But if we go to, hold on just a second. It is portfolio valuations. Is that what it's called? I got to find this. Hold on a sec. I'm going to find it. I love this website, investment stuff. Nope. Political calculations, politicalcalculations.com. This website's freaking it is awesome. It's awesome. Oh, they just updated it too. Sweet. All right, so politicalcalculations.com, and on the right hand side, you'll see there's a on the right header, not the header, but on the side on the right, you'll see where it says the S&P 500 at your fingertips. It is flipping awesome. It's literally the best thing there is out there. It's almost as good as the steaks I made tonight, which actually weren't that good, mind you. I think the meat was a little bit old. But anyway, political calculations, the S&P 500 at your fingertips, freaking awesome. And then frankly, for the presidents, I don't care. At the risk of sounding like a dick, I just don't. So my man Fish Stick Boy says he's only 12. He should have a financial plan. Well, I appreciate you being here, brother. Being 12, hey man, you are as old as my youngest son, Liam. What's your outlook for the stock market this year? I don't know. I mean, I just I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to go up, and I think it's going to go down. And I, at the end of the day, I just say, being there for the long term, because this 1 year will mean nothing 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. If you're short term, you need to have some cash. If you're long term, maybe a little bit of cash to put, fix the roof or something like that. But I'm all in. I got some cash on the side, and I get everything else in stocks. Yep, that's my prediction too. Just like Charles Schwab says, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. We should have a court system like England. Loser pays. Man, I completely agree, Carl. That would be sweet. Man, can you imagine? Did you hear? Where's something crazy? You remember Mattress Girl? I just watched a video by Tim Pool. You might not remember Mattress Girl, Emma something. She falsely accused this guy. Essentially, just destroyed this guy. Falsely accused him. Now, like 8 years later, when she's no longer in the media limelight because no one cares once you're, it's nuts. Apparently now she can't find a date, so now she's starting to see that maybe she was wrong to some degree. I can't remember what it was, but Tim Pool did a video on this. I was stunned. I said, wait, Emma Sulkowicz or something like this. I remember that name. That's Mattress Girl. And sure as hell, she's starting to change her opinions to some degree because no one wants to date Mattress Girl because she is like this Lena Dunham lady. Falsely accused this guy at freaking wherever the hell that crazy left wing Oberlin. And everyone was able to put two and two together and figure out who this guy was that she accused of raping her. And it's completely false. And these guys just walk away. No problems at all. They just walk, hey, it's okay. It's cool. It's freaking nuts. And I mean, it just is freaking insane, man. And I'm just sitting there thinking, and this is just, these college kids, how many freaking poor black guys are being accused by stuff like this throughout our history and no one cares. And it's, I don't like it. It's not right. And if you're freaking accusing somebody of this kind of horrible crimes and you're just pulling it out of your butt because you want attention, man, you should be going to the slammer. That's all there is to it. It's like I said, a libertarian is a conservative who's been falsely accused. And it really infuriates me. We got Lena Dunham, we got a Mattress Girl, and the list goes on and on and on with women who've accused men of something that they did not do. There's a guy who, was it Shane Oatman, who's out in the XFL? I think he got falsely accused. Watch Flemlo Raps. He does a video on Shane Oatman. It's gonna piss you off, man, because he got falsely accused. I'm sure it's Shane Oatman. Anyway, and it just is, it's wrong. It's wrong. And yet we're going to go after Roger Stone. It's freaking insane. So I'm sitting there thinking, wait. So if you just have these crocodile tears and say Shane Oatman did something he shouldn't have done, and I can't prove it, and he's going to lose his scholarship. I can't remember if he went to jail or not, but it's not right. It infuriates me. And that stuff has got to stop. That stuff's got to stop. And it's going to have to stop on the backs of quote unquote feminists saying, this is wrong, man. We're abusing men and it's not doing us any good, because it's not. And I'm just telling you, man, that infuriates me, because I'm sitting there thinking there's another guy too. Never mind the Duke lacrosse guys, but another guy lost his scholarship at Michigan or something like that. It's just all fake news, all fake. All these guys getting accused of stuff. They didn't do it. And they even had text on some of these people. They had text, these women texting saying, hey, last night was great. Let's do it again sometime. And they would not allow that for evidence. Hey, my man, Fish Stick Boy says he resells sneakers and makes about $500 a month. Hey, right on, man. There you go, man. Nothing wrong with that, brother. Yeah, I mean, so Zachary says, why do I think, you guys asked, and the king, come here, everyone wants to see it, buddy. Come here, Pablo, come. Why are you running off? I fed you. I spoiled you. So if you are mad because I'm showing Pablo, please log off now. Everyone wants to see this guy. You are the star of the show, big guy. Yes, you are. Yeah, why you run off on your dad? Don't do that. I need you here, buddy. You got to tell me what to say. what would my Armageddon outcome as far as the election, how it would affect the markets? Listen to that video with Andrew Biggs. He actually made a good point. He said, look, and remember, he's coming at it from the libertarian right, as am I. And he's like, look, even if Bernie wins, he's not going to get anything done. It's just, the Obamacare stuff, it took almost like an act of God. Well, it almost was an act of God when you think about it, when the Alaska Senator Stevens was falsely accused, prosecuted, and found guilty by prosecutors who should have been in jail, but instead worked on the anti-Trump thing with Mueller. Freaking nuts. And he died. And so he lost his seat enough to give the Democrat the chance to vote in favor of Obamacare. And that was, but Obama had a huge majority in both houses, and it was only just able to get it through. I mean, so Andrew Biggs is like, look, the people whose guys in the office get disappointed because they're not getting enough done. The people whose guys is not in office get overly worried because they're worried that, socialism and the Bolsheviks are going to come to fruition. He was a founder, set it up that none of that really happens. I actually kind of agree with that when you think about it. I mean, Bush had majorities in 2005. He couldn't get personal accounts done for Social Security. Didn't even come close. Obama couldn't get a legal immigration pass. And Trump's not getting much done in terms of, I'd love to see some kind of vouchers for Medicare for sure. It's not happening, or vouchers for healthcare. It's not much that can be done, especially with a divided Congress, which is probably not a bad thing. Probably got enough laws on the book. Missy says, I've never heard of solo 401k before. Seriously? I thought we self-employed were limited. Nah, Missy, solo 401ks are freaking awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. TD Ameritrade is a pretty rocking solo 401k too. All right, cool, man. Right on, Kim. I have 2 401ks that both have tax deferred and after tax. Yeah, right on. Retirement at 52. Will they take Social Security tax for my pension? They take social. No, it's got to be earned income. Absolutely. They will not take it from your pension. Nope. Would like to send a video on the ideal percentage to have in each bucket. Roth. Isaac. I've done videos on that a couple times. They are my favorite videos to do. I will do another one. Absolutely. I mean, look, I've done so many videos. There's no way you're going to find it. So don't worry about it. I will do another video on that because this is critical, important to understand how taxes work on the various buckets of money: IRAs, tax defers, tax-free, and taxable for sure. I might this week on the live stream. I traveled too much in retirement, but it's fun. Okay. All right, what would you do in this case? I walk dogs and make $80 to $200 every month. I need money for sneakers so I can resell them. How should I invest it? I need $50 spending money left. Yeah, just put it into, saving it all. I agree. Just put it in the savings account for the time being until you get enough money in there where you can feel pretty comfortable that you're not going to need to tap into any liquid asset. A liquid fish boy or whatever your name is, fish stick boy, it just means you have access to it. I would, frankly, if you were my boy, because I got 4 kids, I would say just put in the bank for the time being until you got enough built up in there that you're not going to need to touch that. You're not going to need to touch more money. You can start putting in the markets. Chicago municipal employee here. I'm retiring in 5 years. Pension will be roughly 50,000 or so. We hope. So I'll be 60 in 10 seconds. Give me a southern state to move to. I hate the Chicago weather. Tennessee. Tennessee. Just don't bring your politics, man. If you're a lib, you probably want to move to where would you want to move if you're a lib? I don't know, man. No place in the South, I imagine. Isn't there a one? North Carolina is going purple. Virginia is kind of purple. They're saying Georgia's going to be up for grabs. It's not going to be. I'd want you to move to California if you're a lib. California would be a good place to live because it's the weather is nice. If you're conservative, welcome home. Welcome home. What's the yearly limit on a solo? Well, so the thing with 401ks, there's 3 things you have. You have your contributions, and the limits are like 19,000 if you're under 50, 24,500 if you're over 50, and those numbers are subject to change. That might not be 2020 numbers, but something like that. Then you have a profit sharing. So you as a business owner, i.e. the employer, are going to share your profits with your employees, which is you. So you have a profit sharing. All right. So you have your contributions, your profit sharing, and then if there's an employer match. So the max that can go in there is like $54,000. And again, I don't know what it is this year, but it's well above 50,000 a year, depending on your age. Employer contributions, the match, your contributions as the employee, and then profit sharing, which is sweet. All right. Let's see. Wonderful company, dividends or no? I agree. Yeah, went and signed up for Beat the Bush. What do you mean you signed up? But he subscribed? I didn't know you could sign up for something. Does anyone know a good stock to buy if I buy any amount of shares of $300? Laser is a business venture I'm looking in. I agree with you about the tattoo removals. I'm telling you, man. If it wasn't for Dennis Rodman, no one would have tattoos. I'm just telling you right now. So Dennis Rodman led to Allen Iverson, and Allen Iverson was kind of like the what's the word? I don't know, the James Dean of the 50s or something like that, the bad boy. And everyone wants to be the bad boy. And so especially like the suburban whites, they saw, the black basketball players starting to get inked up, and they said, oh, we want to be like that to show how cool we are. And all the hipsters starting to get sleeve tattoos. I remember when I was in the Army, man, I just remember like, these guys getting sleeve tattoos, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. I mean, that was, kind of cool, but it's kind of weird. That's back in the 80s and early 90s. And then now everyone's got sleeve tattoos. It's weird, man. I just, that whole thing is just strange to me. The hipsters. But I remember when I was in college in 96, there's a girl named Ashley, and she got all sleeves. It was I was the only one with tattoos in college that at least I knew of, because I was in the Army. But she had came in one day just all tatted up, and I was like, well, I mean, she was the only one, but now she's just par for the course. It's just weird. The trendy stuff is weird to me. I don't like that. All the trends. I'm an anti-trendy guy. For some reason, it bothers me, and I wish now that I did not have any tattoos, because it's so damn trendy. And people say, like my one looks like freaking, it was black, now it's like green. You know what I'm saying? Like the old, when they get old, like those old Navy guys. And people say, you're gonna get that redone? I'm like, nope, never, ever, ever gonna get it redone. I actually have an American flag that looks pink. Like a light pink. Never get it done again, man, because I don't want to look like a trendy guy. It's just my nature. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, click the like button, please. Roberta said, just want to let you know your channel is fantastic. I've been watching from almost the beginning, and Pablo is also great too. So Roberta, you were here before I even had this guy. Look at his little, you can see that little, look at that right there, his little paw. Oh, man. Oh, by the way, DC Defenders fan base welcomes Pablo with open arms. Hey, I want to share with you one thing real quick, and then we'll cut it here in a little bit. I saw my man Vinyl Earthling said something about Barron's. I wanted to read you something here. This is the Barron's top advisors by state. I don't know if y'all can see that. And how do they get the top advisors? Listen, factors included are in the rankings are assets under management. The number 2 factor, revenue produced for the firm. Revenue produced for the firm. Why would that have anything to give you a top advisor ranking? Revenue, I'm in private mode. I don't know what happened. Anyway, revenue produced for the firm. What? So if someone comes along, hoity-toity, I'm one of the Barron's top financial advisors, I would run for the hills, because the way they become a top financial advisor is how much money they make, not for you, but for the firm. No thanks. All right, let's see what we got. Why pay extra on your mortgage when the rate is less than 5%, whereas you can get a better return on your money? I don't know. Can you really get a better return on your money? I mean, really? We'll see. We'll see. I use 7.5% for stocks, 3% for bonds, 1% for cash in my models. Most of the big firms are anticipating over the next 10 years a real return of around 2 to 4.5%, and real return are after factor inflation, which is quite low, about 1.5. So if I'm paying 3.25 on my mortgage, I want that sucker paid down. If the alternative is only getting 4.25 on a stock, that's not guaranteed at all. That could easily drop in value significantly. But if I'm paying 3.25 on my mortgage, which I am, that's a guarantee for sure. And please don't anyone say, but you get the tax deduction. No, that's a bad argument. Yeah, 100% right. Rob Noss, pay your mortgage because you're indebted to somebody else. In fact, when I was doing the video, I read the video or watched the video on the pension crisis of 1972, which I put a couple links in the show notes. The one thing one lady said was when they got robbed of the pension, I think this was by the union scoundrels, and there's CEO scoundrels too, but in this case, I think it was union scoundrels. The wife said, well, thank goodness we're not in debt. At least we can make ends meet. Wise words have never been spoken. Thank goodness we're not in debt so we can make ends meet. That was debt is the enemy, man. There's no other way around that. But your debt is cheaper than your investments. We don't know that. Look at Japan. I mean, just look. There's tons of evidence of companies and countries that do not give what we've received over the last 100 years or so. And we were the only game in town for a long, long time in the U.S. Everybody else was sucking wind, man. And everyone had to turn to us. And those days are not here anymore. So, all right. Whew. All right. I might need to look at a lower mortgage interest rate. Refinancing might be a good thing in this low rate environment. I'm pretty comfortable with 3.25. Missy says maybe S&P was down so long and Ginny Mae was okay, but S&P 500 should have recovered more. Yeah, absolutely. That's what happens with the long run for sure. You're not really free if you pay off your mortgage because property tax, $500 a month there, rent. Yeah, well, I get that, but if you live in Tennessee, property tax is low. If you live in Fulton County, Georgia, where I do, property tax is not low. Technical analysis is astrology for stock pickers. Man, you're gonna make some serious enemies, brother. People do not like that. But man. Who won the AFC? AFC won. I can't remember what the things are on the AFC versus NFC, but that will be certainly input. That the Chiefs winning will certainly determine earnings for companies. By the way, oh man. Oh man. All right, let's see here. Could you tell? But everybody, the author thought, okay, gotcha. Yeah, no, right on. Well, technical analysis, they're not really factoring current events, Missy. That's a good point, though. Missy says, I never understood how technical analysis could factor in current events that affect stock moves. They can't, exactly right. But what they say is after the moving day average, there'll be some momentum or something like that, theoretically. But you can't. I mean, you cannot factor. Who can factor in coronavirus? I mean, this is what the whole point about this timing the market or picking stock. No one knows a friggin' damn thing. I mean, just who can factor in Boeing plane going down? Who could factor in, what's that guy's name? I don't know, friggin' what happened to GE? I mean, if they can't factor then you can't factor in how a stock is going to do based on technical analysis. And you really can't on fundamental analysis all that much either. So you just buy the index and say, I can't factor any of this stuff because things can change, which is the whole point about when people say all the time, like, we don't know. I mean, are we going to get, is there going to be an EMP tomorrow? Oh, well, we can't factor that. You can't factor that in. You know what I'm saying? So how do you project that into your plans? And so if you can't factor that in, just going back to the guy who said, don't pay off your mortgage. I'd much rather have no mortgage if an EMP hit and then have a mortgage and have my stocks at zero because I still owe the money. Exactly. All right. All right, so let's see. Let's see here. Okay. I think Wendy L did mean she's on still on TRICARE Prime. I think so too, Moon. I think you're right. REIT dividends are the dividend and ordinary. I don't remember. Vinyl Earthlink here. Who knows this? Tom Major, Jared. You know, a REIT. Yeah, Jared does some videos on REITs. A REIT dividends ordinary or qualified? I think they're ordinary too, Rich. Yeah, there you go. Ordinary, but yeah, okay, right on. There you go. Yeah, TRICARE Prime, right on. All right. Yeah, so a good question. Robert says, is it even worth putting a REIT into a taxable portfolio when you're just looking for qualified dividends, low volatility stocks? No, 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 no. Put REIT in a Roth for sure. Ooh, all right, guys. I think I'm getting winding down here. Let's see. Correction coming to Bernie Sanders when presidency. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't have any qualm with that, but I mean, I agree with that 100%. There will be a correction significantly, but you remember what's his name? The Nobel Prize winner and economist, Paul Krugman, the day that Trump won, markets will never recover. I mean, that's Paul Krugman. So you just don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you just don't know. But Bernie's not winning, man. He's not gonna get the black vote. And if the Democrats don't get the black vote, they don't win. That's all there is to it. In fact, I still think my hope among hope is that Trump is making inroads among the black vote for sure. And if he does, it's over. Where the Trumpster is going to win going away. Bernie's not going to get it. It seems like Biden's cratering with a black vote. And if they don't get the black vote, there's nothing there, which is always one of the things that frustrated me about the 2016 analysis. Obama beat McCain 53-47, which is a shellacking in presidential politics. He only beat Romney 52-48. All right. Hillary was not going to get the same level of enthusiasm among the core Democrat base that Obama did. Just wasn't going to happen. And I'm sitting there thinking, all these people are saying Trump is going to lose by like 10% to Hillary. I said, when Obama won against McCain, and McCain is horrible. I almost didn't vote. I had a hard time. I voted for Sarah Palin. I did not vote for McCain. But if Obama can only beat him by 6, Hillary Clinton is not beating Trump by 10. That was just insanely stupid. So all these people have said that. It's just like, man, now you can make the same argument that maybe there's something there with Bernie, in terms of Medicare for all stuff. I think it's horrible to do that, but that might get enough people. He might be able to pull the wool over people's eyes enough to vote for him. I highly suspect that won't, but we shall see. But many people thought the same about Trump. But I mean, literally, the idea that Hillary was going to wipe the floor with Trump when Obama could just barely wipe the floor with Mittens, and he did wipe the floor with McCain, but Hillary was going to do more than that to Trump. It's nuts. So it's always going to be pretty close. The question is, if the Democrats can't get their base out, they're not winning. That's all there is to it. And Trump's base is fired up, man, and that's the difference. If you get your base fired up, all you need is a few converts to come on over, and you're in there. And Obama, to his credit, man, he knew how to get his base fired up. Now he was a good politician. No other way around that. No other way around that. In hindsight, I'm glad he won. I'm glad Mittens did not win. Mittens would have been bad. In fact, I was reading another conservative guy the other day. He said, man, I wish I would have voted for Obama over Mittens. I said, man, no doubt, no two ways around that. But there you go. Regardless of what happens, nothing you can do about it. So you just you take your punches and you move on. But if you have no debt, it'd be a whole lot easier to sleep at night. That's for sure. All right, I think I'm gonna wind it down here. Thanks, guys, for being here. Don't forget to watch that video on Andrew Biggs. No one knows Social Security like that guy does, man. And I'm just telling you right now, if you are nervous about Social Security, you watch my man Andrew Biggs, and you'll say, it's not that bad. So see you guys tomorrow. I will have a couple videos I'm doing on the National Center for Risk Assessment. Again, I'll do another one on that. I got to do another one on the buckets. I forgot someone asked about the tax buckets. That's my favorite topic right there. And a couple other ones I want to do real quick. I had a couple of things posted here real quick. One from Andrew Biggs. Yeah, right here. Social Security expansion will cut Medicare income tax revenues by $300 billion. I want to read that. And then my man, I forgot who sent this to me. I think it's Anthony. Reforming Social Security from 1996, Federal Reserve Board of St. Louis. I'm very much looking forward to reading that because we're going to step back in time 25 years to say what they said about it then, which I find very interesting. And then we got some other stuff to do. So appreciate y'all being here. We will see you next time. Blessings. Thanks, guys.